Hello, it's me, Heidi. Welcome to my channel once again. First live show in a very long time. So I now have a nice little toy here I can play with, but uh, more about my toys perhaps later. So I hope you're doing well. Of course, I have my always lovely co-host Stefan. There we go. Of course, and then we have Bertil. And Morran. Hello. I hope you are doing absolutely fantastic. There are a few watching. Please let me know if there are any issues regarding audio or image quality, etc., etc. And if you have your grievances regarding the quality of my content in general, please let me know. But Mr. 42, thank you very much, and I trust my little sound effects here work. Anyway, there we go. I have my new toys here, so OMG, this actually works. I'm super happy. I actually bought one of these stream deck thingies, whatever you want to call them, and I can just press a button and tell you how big of a so all kinds of fun stuff. I like today. I'll just probably be nice. So yeah, I like it. I'll probably be playing around with these tonight. Mr. 42, maybe we'll never know. Anyway, I had a lot of fun being on my little vacation, and you had the time to enjoy my recorded videos with for example, always lovely Mr. 42. He is such a lovely dude always. And Mr. Katz, Conspiracy Cats, he I know he's super lovely guy. Anyway, so my topic for today, brief history of trans. Yes, 62 views. I'm really good, pleased with that particular video. Of course, I'll have to give a round of applause to Mr. 42, who was kind enough to do a video with me. As I challenge in a number of those videos, I made a challenge on people challenging my views on the topic of trans people in sports competing in twice, of course. There we go. Oh yes, oh yes, we actually had to film the entire thing twice with Mr. 42. That was, and I'm still ashamed. Um, I actually messed up with the sound, and there was zero sound in that entire video. The first take, the first version, and we, I had, unfortunately, I had to bother Mr. 42, and he was kind enough to record it with me again. Don't Mr. 42 goes on to say, "Don't be ashamed. The second version was better than the first take anyway." You are very, very right. You're very correct on that one. That first version there was a. There you go. Anyway, in the videos, I don't think I made it in every video I made for or recorded for the time I was gone. I presented a challenge to people who wish to disagreed with me, shall we say, rather meticulously, and tried to argue me, try to get an argument out of it and try to make their point. I challenged them, each and every one of these, to a moderated debate on a third party channel, on a neutral channel, for which I've made, as I said previously, I've made arrangements with a certain channel friend who is more than willing to take us. But when I told them to send me an email, and please, at least one of them agreed to debate me on the conversion therapy video, or that topic there. But when I told each and every one of these to send, they would have wanted to debate me, I take it. But when I demanded them to send me an email to arrange a time and date for the debate on the third party channel, but none of them eventually none of them sent me an email. Yeah. Chicken that. Yeah. Anyway, what I want to talk to you about today and in the future on a number of episodes, I would say maybe four or five episodes, is the brief history of trans. I got the inspiration for this video will actually be more or less of an introduction to the topic of trans history. Anyway, I got the inspiration for that from this article from the this one's an update. No. From The Guardian. a text from one Professor Stephen Whittle, founder of Press for Change, running through the key legislation, individuals, and medical breakthroughs in the history of transgender issues. This, however, is not the main point for me here today. More, more. I would go as far as to say I have better things to talk about right now. Um, or, all right. Well, more things to talk about the than this topic than this the Guardian article, the brief history of transgender issues, because I will not be talking about the issues. However, I will talk about the general history, like so. And by the way, for the time being, I won't be streaming to Facebook anymore, uh, due to reasons I might or might not go to later. Anyway, the word transgender didn't exist until the mid 1960s, and that would that this term arose from the circles of American psychology and psychiatry, as far as I can tell. So I'll talk in terms of what, with the modern terms, as far as long as possible, given the context in which these people and instances would have happened. And it's trans in the broadest sense of the word, quite frankly, because the word trans hasn't always existed. It hasn't even transvestite, which was the first term, really the first modern term to describe transgender people. Now, of course, it describes something quite a bit different. Came to be in around 1910 in the writings of Magnus Hirschfeld, a German sexologist, who then performed the first gender reassignment surgeries of various length, or was where various lengths, or yeah, varieties. Yeah, there were mastectomies and vasectomies and all kinds of uterectomy, and all kinds of uh, so anyway, but maybe today I will be discussing from what little I could find on the time before the Common Era, or BCE. There isn't much I could easily gather from sources that are are readily available to an average Joe online. Okay, so from really the Neolithic and Bronze Age, there have been uh, found they found a number of drawings and figurines around the Mediterranean area, which have been described by some as third sex, which would have some resonance into modern day, the First Nation, the third, or the two spirits of the of the First Nations in North America, Fafafinas in Oceania, etc., and such. Um, so it's not all that. Um, it's not all that straightforward, because, as I said, it's these this terminology used here is rather new. It's just 100 years old, so it's perhaps a little tough to use or apply. Anyway, there that these figurines found from as long ago as 7,000 BCE. That's 9,000. That's about 9,000 years old. To 1700s BCE. Would have had human figures with male genitals and female breasts, or no distinguishable no distinguishable um, gender or sex characteristics. From starting from around 2900 BCE, there's been burial sites across Europe, namely in Prague, where a male. And by the way, those people who share these pictures and of skeletons next to each other, and everyone's got the same skeleton, we're all the same. No, that is factually incorrect. I'm sorry, because you can determine this person's sex assigned at birth, or at least the sex uh, which which according to which they've gone through, or which genders puberty they've gone through, where they are from, etc. So they've determined that from a burial site in Prague, that's Czech Republic, that a man was buried in a woman's, or what would have been considered a woman at the time, and it might correlate it to a trans person or a person of the third sex. However, I could not find any reference to a third sex. Check to a references to a third sex in in Europe, or particularly in the area of the Czech Republic. I could be mistaken, and once again I hope you, my dear viewers, will let me know in the chat or in the the comment section below after this stream. And before I go any further, please like and subscribe. That would help me immensely for my channel to grow. So basically, what this was more or less the European side of things. Then we have, of course, the ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt did have several different third gender categories. From a tale from their big stories from 3,000 to 3,200 years ago or so, a tale of two brothers. There's one brother in this story who tell his wife, "I am a woman just like you," and modern days that would be considered transgender or transgendered, which is, as I understand it, grammatically incorrect. There have been several gods and goddesses represented in androgynous or clearly trans in varying degrees. And then we perhaps come to the first millennia. We have all heard, at least I hope so. Many have heard of Emperor Nero, who actually was as I understand it, the emperor who set Rome on fire and blamed it on the Christians, which started some sort of an oppression on them. But Nero, or more commonly known as Nero Claudius Caesar Augustus Germanicus, original name was Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus, and he actually married two men. Called Pythagoras and Sporus. I'm not 100% sure whether this particular guy no, if this guy was the Pythagoras after whom the Pythagorean theorem was named after, but all you science folk will correct me if I am wrong, but because I am an idiot. But this Pythagoras, and a guy named Sporus married Roman Emperor Nero, who set the Roman fire, as it's sometimes said, if I am not completely mistaken. Um, Nero married these men, Pythagoras and Sporus, in legal ceremonies, and yes, uh, gay marriage was legal in the Roman Empire at the time, at least for the emperor himself. However, one of these men actually uh, accorded the regalia worn by the wives of the emperors or Caesars, and that and also that the couples had traditional marriage ceremonies. How in a what these wedding ceremonies were at that time, but they were frowned upon. But it was possible at the time. So Sporus was actually the one who decided to wear or accord with the regalia of the wives. So as you taking on the social role of a woman, which yeah, it's good. It's an interesting thing, and especially for a place like Rome. And some say that this whole transy thing and being gay is just a something that has come up in recent years, but that is not the case, as we can see here. So, okay, and this would have been in roughly in mid 50s or of the first century. And then Tacitus, a Jewish historian, wrote in a book on it as a in his book, which was an historical and ethnographic work on the Germanic people outside Rome, the realm of Rome, in his work in Germania, that there were priests in tribe, that the priests of a Germanic tribe of Swabian had people called Naharvali or Nahanarvali, who dressed as a woman in their religious ceremonies. And I actually, okay, so, and then we next will get to a Roman emperor once again. But before that, I'll take a brief be right back. Hello there. Um, I had, as you can see, I fixed the chat box because it was a bit too high, but not as but not the Dutch kind of high. Um, the Roman Emperor Elagabalus was a teenager when he became the Roman Emperor. But I would rather say she, because yes, at the time, only men would or male males would have been able to become an emperor within the Roman uh, empire, sorry. But she would have been she wanted to be called wife, mistress, queen, and queen of one of his or his slash her lovers. Uh, she wore wigs, female clothing, wigs, preferred lady, not lord, etc. Uh, I'm trying to as I understand it, she was the first in recorded history to have been reported to have been seeking a sex reassignment surgery, asking the doctors if she could have a vagina. Well, it would take another 1800 years before she could have it would have been even remotely possible. Unfortunately, uh, so in this case, she would have she would probably be considered a she would be considered transgender, a transgender woman. I would assume. Um, for example, there is, and then when we get after the fall of the Roman Empire as we know it, we still had, or they still had, the Byzantine Empire and Constantinople as its capital. Um, oh, hey, by the way, if you have any questions, comments, please put them in the chat, and will I will then answer your questions and react to your comments accordingly. But there is still stuff to go through. Excuse me, I have technical issues here. Yes. Uh, there would have been a saint in the Byzantine Empire called Anastasia the Patrician. Uh, she was the lady in waiting in a Justinian I's court in Constantinople. Um, However, Anastasia the Patrician uh, was a courtier and later a saint. So he spent 28 years uh, until his death as a male monk in Egypt, and by some in the religious in the community been been adopted as the transgender saint. Hey, come on. I mean, who could be better saints for in the Catholic or the Eastern Orthodox Church, who would be better and more evil than a transgender saint? Anyway, then we this. I mean, this is just brief. I'm trying to keep this as the title of the stream says, brief history. I intend to go through these bits, this in parts, and then going through it in more of a general way, and then trying to go into a bit more depth whenever possible. Whenever possible. And then in another episode, I'll then in later episodes I will dig deeper into stuff, this stuff that I've been going through briefly. But these will of course come later and will be much more quality. I always try to make quality, but hey. If you find these irritating, these but little effects, please do tell me so. Anyway, but I highly recommend. I really highly recommend this article from the Guardian. This is actually linked in the description box below on YouTube. That is, if you're watching on Twitch, please go check out the stream description box on YouTube. Anyway, this Professor Stephen Whittle's text is just amazing. So this, excuse me, technical. So this is then there been, of course, these older findings, of course, if you will, elsewhere in California 2,500 years ago. Archaeological evidence of trans or third gender people existing in California at rates that would compare at which they would be expected to find to be found among the indigenous peoples there in the modern era. So it's not just even in the Americas. In ancient times, this is would have been around 500, the 6th century BCE in North America. What would now be California. Trans and third gender people, or two-spirit people, would have been present at the same rates as we would expect, because now we know the rate. It's about 1 between 0.8 to 1.3 2%, I think, the ratio, the prevalence of trans people in modern times. So it's not it's not that it's not a new thing. There's 0.8 to 1 something percent of trans people in the general public in general public. It's not the same can be found everywhere from thousands of years ago. From thousands of years ago, they can find at the same rate trans people, two-spirit people. So these woo peddlers telling us otherwise, they're just excuse me. Uh, give give it a round. Give it a round of applause to you guys. Yeah. Anyway, of course, the as I was saying, uh, these people have been there um, way before the Europeans came, and these people uh, they came from Siberia and Eastern Asia and Siberia over the Bering Straits because they about 10,000 years ago the Earth was on the last glacial maximum, and there was a land bridge between eastern Siberia and Alaska because the water level was, well, at least the ocean water level was so much higher that there was a land bridge. So the indigenous people came to um, from Eastern Asia and Siberia on several waves. So these people, at the same rate of 0.8 to 1.2% or so, came with the people from Eastern Asia and Siberia. So goes further and further back. I'm no anthropologist uh, or a historian, but I'm not stupid. Uh, so it's and the oppression of these people lasted for started when the Europeans came in. The Vikings came around year 1000, but they didn't stay too long. They didn't stay very long, and it eventually left. But the Christopher Columbus and his people, and later other conquistadors came to the Americas, and it was a carnage, and hence at the same time, trans people and third gender, and so were wiped out, and then now Christians can say, oh, we don't have any, we didn't have any here when we came, when my family came, we didn't have any queers here. So hey, come on. Yeah. All right. There's so much to go through. Um, please, if you have any questions and comments, please, because I don't want to, I wouldn't want to be here all. I want to keep these brief. I don't want to bore you too long until I go into more uh, detailed information. I'm going through briefly the different eras in more general term, and then I'll go dig deeper and go in a bit deeper. Anyway, uh, and at this point, I would also like to reiterate the the challenge of mine, which is, if you disagree with me on any number of subjects, but mainly transgender people in sports, transgender people in sports, and um, uh, lost my train of thought if I ever even had one. But anyone who disagrees with me on the transgender in sports or conversion therapy, please let me know. Email me at heidiscorner@gmail.com. You'll find it in the description box below. Please let me send me an email. Be right back. Hello. Now I'm sorry, I had to fix the chat box. Uh, even though it's not time for, even though I don't have chat box travels like a certain feline friend of mine. I still had to fix the chat box if it's traveling too far or fast. Anyway, Peter Nuttall saying, looking forward to the deeper discussions. Yes, and I'm planning on having a bit more audience oriented episode where I might even take guests to talk about these things, if or to discuss these things with me, if you like. Okay, so Mr. 42, do you have any of your wise fortitude tricks? I'm sorry, I just had to. I hope you don't hate me for this now. I'm a horrible person. Just being an absolute cunt. Um, Peter Nuttall will saying, "Will you talk about issues from different parts of the world?" I will. I will talk about uh, um, different parts of the world, as I now mentioned, the Americas, namely the thing with California, the uh, bodies or archaeological evidence found in California from about 500 BCE and so on. Uh, I will then touch on, and I also mentioned the ancient Egypt. Of course, there are plenty of evidence from ancient Akkadians, Sumerians, and so forth. It's well known. They in ancient Sumer and such, they had um, mention documents mentioning transgender or transvestite priests known as Gala, I think, if I read it, if I found it correctly. Transvestite or transgender priests in Sumerian and Akkadian texts from about 4,500 years ago. That would have been, what's that? That's like 2,500 BCE. So that's quite a uh, something I'm surprised of and still not surprised of. Uh, there have been art, as I said, up to 7,000 or 7,000 BCE. That's 9,000 years ago, so it's quite a long time ago. In ancient Greece, Phrygia, Rome, they've had priests uh, called Galli, who are to be believed to be transgender women, or at least what we would call transgender women nowadays. So there, and some, as I understand it, some women would have been at least transvestites to some degree in modern terms, because in whether through identity or practice, whether it be cross dressing, but regardless, would have passed as men to be able to vote, fight, and study at the time when these weren't um, available to women. Anyway, do you have any more? And yes, going back to your question, Peter, if I will talk about issues from different places, etc. Uh, yeah, yes, I will. And if anyone wishes to come, uh, as I said, if people wish to come discuss these things with me, please feel free to either send me an email to my channel email address. You can find it in the description box and the channel information page. And of course, you will find me also on Discord. The Discord links can also be found in the description box. Um, there are links, invitation links to my two servers. One of them is my channel server, which is Heidi's Corner. The link is in the description, and then there's LGBT plus Safe Space server, which is the bigger of the two. That particular server will or is meant to be an open server to everyone, whether LGBT plus or an ally. Join us there, as well as stuff about my YouTube channel on my channel's server, and there you can also get in touch with me via DM if you wish to discuss this further, and perhaps at some point come onto my channel. Anyway, we are here at the 1 hour mark, and I think that is an excellent point to love you and leave you. So in coming weeks, you will on my channel in coming weeks, say 7 to 6 weeks, you'll see a combination of both live shows and recorded episodes. That is the recorded episodes will be due to my work schedules at my actual job, as a nurse, because I will be working and I will have a lot of night shifts. So obviously at that point, when I work nights, I cannot be in front of the camera at 9 p.m. UK. So you'll see guests as well. There will be at least wonderful guests who will be returning to my channel. I will tell you his identity will be revealed later. And of course, those who wish to come onto my channel to discuss things either live or as a recorded episode, I can suit both. If you do not want to be on a live show, it can be a recorded one. Anyway, I will see you on Monday I'll see you on Monday for an episode of Hades Corner Monday News, as you have gotten used to. Now, please say goodbye to Run. And up and bad. And of course, Stefan. And I hope to chat with you in the live chat on Monday, and before then, I hope to see you on the Discord servers, and please check the description box down below, and for the links. Check the description box. There are also the link to the Guardian article. Excuse me. I'll find, okay, there. You'll find the link to this article in the description box. You'll find the playlists. You'll find the links to Monday News, Friday Facts, Season 1, Special Files, History with Heidi. You can find all these links. Please go and check these links in the description box. Okay, why my button, a chat button doesn't work? Okay, or then okay, so please thumbs up, thumbs down, I don't care. Like, dislike, and subscribe. And please remember, Sickle. Sorry, the notification bell for all the notifications. And I'll see you on Monday.